Here is the Rangers president of baseball operations, Chris Young, and a good afternoon, sir. How the heck are you?
Hey, guys. I'm well. How are you all?
Doing pretty good, especially seeing this report from Evan Grant that Jacob deGrom's going to be back tomorrow. Can you confirm?
I can confirm. Yeah, I'm glad that Evan has broken the news. We're excited for Jacob. Certainly that, that's always a little iffy. You never know when a pitcher's dealing with something in his arm. And we had the initial diagnostics and MRI that, showed just a little bit of nerve irritation. But you never know how quickly that's going to calm down. And our medical team has done a great job of getting Jacob the proper treatments and medicines he needs, and it sounds like he's in a great spot and ready to go tomorrow, and I'm excited to get him back out there.
So with that news and the win last night, have your spirits maybe bounced back a little bit from the California trip?
Well, it's funny because I've really challenged myself over the last week to reflect on, the 162-game baseball schedule. And you hear it all the time, and you try not to get too high or too low. And that's, what baseball is a sport where, on any given day, the worst team can beat the best team, depending a lot of times on who's pitching. But when you go into a road trip like we just had, where you're playing two teams that have not played well over the course of the season, you expect to really have a shot to string together some wins. And when you come out of it, you can't help but feeling down on yourselves when you come out of it, with the record we had on that road trip. And so, the way I tried to step back and look at it is that we are not going to continue playing that poorly the rest of the season. And if we can make that our worst stretch of baseball, then maybe we have some really good stretches coming. But it certainly didn't go the way we wanted. We're a better team than the way we played, and I'm glad to see us bounce back last night. And the hope is we build off that tonight.
It is 162, and it feels like a marathon sometimes. But at this point now, we're down to 36 games in a playoff fight. How much more intense are these games with the end now in sight?
Yeah, you do everything you can to win every game moving forward, and that's just the reality of it. Is that this is probably going to come down, whether it's the division or the wild card, to one win. My guess is that the team that wins one more game than the next team that'll be the difference between making the playoffs and not. So you can't give any games away, and you got to try to win every one. And but I think it's also when you have good players and veteran players, I think oftentimes that can bring out the best in them too. And my hope is that our group can sense that, they can feel what's right in front of them and the opportunity they have, and they go seize it and grab it.
CY, what are the things that you can control? What are the things that this baseball team can control?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think it ties into a little bit of what I saw this past week. We can, for the most part, we can control our pitching. We're not there are going to be games where you run into a hot team, but you can control, making good pitches, executing good pitches. And, sometimes you'll have bad luck. You'll have get a bad break, but your pitching and your defense are two primary controllables, in my opinion. Your base running's a controllable. The offense is a little more reactive, and times you're going to go through, some dry spells. And that's what we saw this week. The part that hurt was I didn't think we played very clean baseball. I didn't think we pitched well enough. I didn't think that we played well enough on defense. We didn't do the little things, base running, that we needed to do, going first to third, second to home, moving guys over with bunting. Just little things when we're not swinging it well. You got to do the other things even better, and we didn't do that. So that was the hard part for me, the way we lost this week. Now, if the bats get hot and you do those other things, we always talk about being a fundamentally sound team. When you add a hot offense to doing those other things well, then you get on your streak. So the hope is that the bats get hot the way we saw last night. If we continue to swing it like that, it was a very clean game. It was the first clean game we've had in a while. And we got to build off that. That's how we need to play baseball if we're going to win this thing.
Yeah, the base running was really a standout, especially Seager sliding headfirst in there, CY. And Jake Berger post-game talked about how that kind of juiced everybody up. Was that kind of a sign to you that, all right, Seager's confident, he's healthy? Because I don't know that that's necessarily a slide he's making earlier on in the season with how banged up he was.
Yeah, I can't say if it's a function of health or just the importance of the season, or he knows what's on the line, but we need that from Corey, and we need that from every player moving forward. And if we get that kind of effort, we'll bet on this team, and I'll bet on the talent to prevail when we play with that level of effort.
We got Rocker on the bump tonight. What would you like to see from him, and what has maybe gone wrong in some of his previous few starts?
I'm sorry, I broke up for just a split second. Was that Rocker you asked about?
Yeah. What do you want to see from him tonight?
Yeah, just attacking the strike zone. I mean, he's really got to get ahead. His last outing, he walked 5, and it really, I certainly had games where I walked 5, so I try to be empathetic here and remember how hard it is, but you got to just attack the strike zone. I think I've seen some numbers where when Kamara is ahead in the count, he's just absolutely dominant. And so he's got to get ahead. He's got to attack the strike zone and dictate what's going to happen in the at-bat versus having to come to the hitter. And if he does that, that's really it's a very simple mindset. And if he can do that, he sets himself up for success immensely.
How valuable has Cal Quantrill been, and how amazing was his start last night?
Yeah, Cal's start was phenomenal, and he's really been great for us all season long in a number of different roles, and I'm really grateful for, really the way he's pitched and the way he's handled bouncing back and forth between the rotation and the bullpen. It's not an easy thing to do, and I say that from experience. I had to do very similar in the sort of tail end of my career, and so for Cal, he's been just an absolute savior for us at times, coming in and giving us that start yesterday. Bullpen, and we're set up to really, to have our fresh arms tonight and tomorrow, in part because of what Cal did. So I can't say enough about how big that is for our club.
CY, this is my silly question for you for the day. I feel like all year I've asked you silly questions, but this is the one I just wonder, is there ever a time when you get into a pennant race like this and in games, and do you just say, guys, let's just go out and play baseball and not worry about scouting reports and all the other things, the minutia that happens during the season? Does ever time you just say, damn, we're going to go out and just play baseball today?
Yeah, and it's funny. It's a really good question. It's not a silly question at all, because I think it's something that's really I'm being serious, because it's something that comes up all through the season, and there are times I think where we do get too wrapped up in the scouting elements, and we just have to say, this is mano a mano. Let's go take it.
Yeah.
Go beat the opponent. Find a way. It doesn't matter how it looks. Just get the job done and compete and fight. And that resilience, that perseverance, that mentality, that fight mentality, oftentimes will propel you to victory. And so there's a quote that I love that says, championships are taken, they're not given. And that's the mentality for me, is that you got to go take it. And when the game starts, all that stuff goes out the door. I mean, you try to apply it as best you can, but at some point you just worry about competing.
Corey Seager, 280 this month with around an 800 OPS. Do you think he's turned a corner?
I hope so, and I think there's probably another big corner for Corey to turn, because we've seen him at a level in the past that as good as anybody in this game. And if Corey does and continue to improve, he can really have a huge impact for us. And I think he is feeling better and better. I think the numbers this past month are a sign that he's starting to get more comfortable, and that early season slump has run its course. And if Corey has his best month in September from here on out, it'll be great for our club and our prospects of making the playoffs.
Are you guys making a concerted effort to be more aggressive on the base paths, or did that just kind of take place last night?
No, when you have to be. When one, it's an area that you always need to try to win at the margins, and if you can take that extra 90 feet and put a little more pressure on the defense, you have to have that mentality. But secondly, when the bats aren't going well, you've got to find a way to produce and take some chances to manufacture some runs. And getting runners just that much closer to home is a huge part of that. It gives your offense ways to manufacture runs, whether it's bunting, hitting behind a runner, sac fly. So it's really important that we maintain that aggressive mentality. I'd rather see us do that and get thrown out from time to time than to just play it conservatively and never score.
CY, how close are we to getting Josh Young back? How's Evo doing? Any other Rangers injury updates you can give us?
Yeah, both those guys are making progress. JJ has resumed some light baseball activity. We're going the right direction. He's feeling better. It's not perfect yet, but we are making progress to the point where we can kind of ramp up some baseball activity, which is really encouraging. I still think we're probably a good 12 to 14 days away from really having him back at the earliest. but I'm optimistic we're going the right direction. Evo is also making strides. He will get a follow-up MRI in the next day or two, at which point we hope to kind of build back up his arm and get him throwing again. So he has not been down that long, so it should come back pretty quickly, but we've got to make sure that he's fully healed before we run him back out there.
All righty, sir. Well, I guess go and take it. We'll be pulling for you.
Guys, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Cheers. There he goes. Rangers President of Baseball Operations, Chris Young, brought to you by Medical City Healthcare and Lexus. Visit your local Dallas-Fort Worth Lexus dealership today. And, still 2 games under, but still in a wild card spot. And feeling pretty good coming off of last night's win. Need a great final.
Yeah.
What would this be? 5 weeks from Kamar Rocker?
Yeah.
Can we get the best version of Rocker and get Evaldi back?
Yeah, please.
And deGrom on the hill tomorrow. If you missed that news at the top of the interview, if you missed any of that, of course you can go back with the Odyssey app, instant rewind functionality, and all that.